Hey everybody, Wade and Ryan here. Another NFL in London podcast, but it's here. Week 1 is here, man. Are you excited? It's so many things, and Ryan and I are going to do our picks, our betting guide, and everything that you need to know that maybe make you some money or lose you your house.
I don't know what I'm more excited about, the football season starting or gambling my money away. I just love doing a couple little bets. There's nothing like I can't really bet on like soccer, football over here. Just doesn't feel right. It feels like impossible. The ties that throw everything off. So I'm excited. I got some prop bets. I'm excited about for tonight's game. We can talk about even though it is Dallas Philly, I'll get excited at 6 a.m. when I watch it tomorrow. But I'm not staying up to watch it. That's for sure. You get to watch it live, okay, so that'd be
I will
nice.
be staying up because I'm currently still based in Canada while I deal with all the fallout of family death and everything.
Yeah.
The bonus is I get to watch it, and my Japanese girlfriend, I'm like, just so you know, you don't get to watch anything on Sundays. She's like, what? And I'm like, also, Thursday nights, Friday nights, yeah, that's also a no-go.
Soon to be Wednesday and Tuesday as well.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, well,
sure.
luckily she works 12-hour shifts as a nurse, so
Well, there you go.
it's all good. We've got exciting slate of games for week 1, but it's mercurial. It's unpredictable week 1 because we don't know what's going to happen. We all come in there as prognosticators, as pundits going in and thinking we're going to know what's going to happen. And then week 1 literally dick slaps you. So
it's the hope. It's the hope that kills you.
It's
what
the
they
hope,
say.
and we have hopes for our teams, and obviously we're going to go through all that. But let's kick it off. Let's get in the Thursday night football. We got Thursday, we got Friday in Brazil, we got all the slate of games. Everyone's playing. Not as many people are injured. We have a lot of people that should be as healthy. We'll see how that changes going into week 5. Let's kick it off in Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Dallas, of course, reeling from that trade, but maybe they won't be of getting rid of Micah Parsons. They brought in Bland. Philadelphia is 7.5-point favorites. 47.5 is the over-under. The defending Super Bowl champions at home against a weakened team. Philadelphia has sort of kept stride with everything. They've improved their team for everyone that they've lost, and they still have Saquon and Jalen Hurts and the tush push. This is a big game. Do you think Dallas has any chance in this game?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to take it. It's 8.5, right? You said 8.5.
It's gone. I've got it at 7.5 to 8, so
yeah,
it's gone
I think
back
it's
and
gone
forth.
almost. Yeah, it's about 8.5 over here. I'm going to take Dallas to cover that. I think from everything Dallas has heard, right? Like in the last few weeks, everyone making fun of them. Now people being like, they're not even going to make the playoffs. They're going to be one of the worst. They could finish 4th in the division. Jerry Jones is a mocking. It's like, I think the players hear this, right? They know this is a Philly game. They're going to watch the banner get put up, and there's nothing better than when you can go into someone's house when they've just won the thing. Like Detroit, and it's actually happened a lot recently. Buffalo did it to the Rams. Detroit did it to Kansas City. I don't even remember. It was last year. Or was it last year? Detroit did to Kansas City. I think it was last year. Detroit did to Kansas City.
Yeah, it was last year.
So and the year before was Buffalo. And it feels like this is definitely something that could easily happen. I think the problem is just going to be that if Dallas just gets behind and they have to air it out nonstop. You worry about the running game. Javonte Williams, guy's been coming off 2 straight years of injuries, never really produced after he kind of tore his knee. And then there's the Pickens story. The whole Pickens thing is they going to have that connection? Is there going to be any chemistry? But also, it opens up that really good opportunity of, does it open everything up for CeeDee Lamb to get a bit more open? Because last year that guy was just getting double, triple covered because they had no one out. They were trying to bring in, Jonathan Mingo, trading anything just to try to get someone. They actually, I think for the first time since maybe Amari Cooper, they have like a legitimate number 2 lining across from each other. So I think this is going to make it easy for Ferguson and Dak, and I think they're going to move it down. I think this game's going to come down to the wire, a field goal. I do. I think Philly. I think everyone's just, to me, it's just everyone's laughing at Dallas, and it just feels like I think these players hear that, and I think Dak is looking to prove something. I think there is the ultimate worry of their absolute garbage defense that Philadelphia could easily just kind of tear apart. Everyone's kind of expecting Saquon with no Micah Parsons to just kind of go out there and just run for 200 yards. One of the sneaky bets I like is Saquon over 18.5 carries, 19 carries, I think you get. I think that's a really good kind of bet because I think if they can get any sort of lead, they're just going to want to punish that defense. And Dallas, again, they brought in now Kenny Clark to kind of stop the run. That's why they traded Micah. So they're going to really kind of try and focus it, make Jalen beat you with their arms. So I'm going to go with a little 27 to 25. Philadelphia wins, though. I think Philly's just the better team, and in the end, they take it.
I can hear you. Obviously there's the laughing stock, and let's not forget, Dak has lit it up. This is a guy who can put up the yards,
Yeah.
but there's just so many holes in that team. There's so many missing things, and maybe a lot of the chatter from Dallas was they were happy to get rid of Micah. He was a locker room distraction. He talked a lot about himself. Maybe this calm will find some sort of Zen garden for
Yeah, who knows?
Dallas. But I just think this is too much. This is a defending champion. The banner goes up. Even if Dallas does start making a run at it, Philly has all the tools to clamp down, throw down, and if Jalen, which he will have the time, and air some deep balls, which Dallas is going to be in trouble with. I cannot see. I've got Dallas to win this, or Dallas to lose this one handily. I've got Philly winning this one 31-14. I can see Philly
Ouch.
putting up some points, saying, "Screw you. This is it. This is our house. We've got it." There's still the running game that I worry about with Dallas and how they're going to get that going. And Philly's defense, which we saw in that Super Bowl. They got some newer guys in there. They're not going to miss a step. I've got Philly kicking that up. I know what you're saying about history, but I just think Philadelphia is too strong. So I've got Philadelphia to win this one
right.
quite easily. Who knows? First week. Let's head down to Brazil, where I recently got a Brazilian for this game. As we head in, yes, I know, it's an AFC West matchup. Kansas City, 3.5-point favorites against the Chargers team. No one really the home team in Brazil. We saw last year it was wetter than the front row of a One Direction concert on that field. Who knows what's going to happen in terms of this one? You still have, the Chiefs, who were humbled, humiliated. They still got probably the best quarterback. They still have the coaching team, and the Chargers, who have made some changes to their team, also flaunting a very good defense. 3.5 points for Kansas City. 44.5 is the over/under. We're in Brazil. How do you like the game for this one, Ryan?
It's so hard to pick against the Chiefs. I think again these guys notoriously play each other tough. Like the Chargers, a lot of times Herbert comes down to the wire. They find a way to blow it in the end. Something goes wrong, and it feels like to me this is like an opportunity. This is an opportunity for the Chargers to say there's going to be some challenger coming in for this division. I think it's we've seen Kansas City in the past lose a game like this, and they rattle off 14 straight wins. So to me, the fact that Rashee Rice is missing, I think is going to hurt them. We got Isaiah Pacheco who looks healthy, but, they still have questions. They got a rookie on the offensive line. We don't know what that's going to be like. I want to take the Chargers so badly to win, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take the Chiefs just because there's the Mahomes factor, the biggest stage. I think, again, Mahomes getting humiliated in the playoffs has to mean something. I don't think he took that lightly. I think when I think after when he lost to the Bucks years ago and had that, even though that wasn't his fault, but he had some of his best years of football after that. I just think again Kansas City's been there too much until I see Herbert go out and beat someone, like beat a good quarterback head to head or beat a strong defense. Because again, every time we see them, they're only putting up like 14 points, struggling. Like, everything's a struggle with them. The running games, we don't know what a Mario Hampton's going to be like. Again, they lost Rashad Slater, which is going to be huge. One of their best players. To me, I do think the Chargers can win this, but until I see it, I'm not betting against Kansas City. I've done it too many times in my life, and I've learned my lesson. Lesson learned. So I'm going very close game, 27-26. No, 28-26. Nice little close
so you have
field
the Chargers
goal.
to cover this game,
I have Chargers to cover. I think it'll be at least a 3-point game.
See, I'm sort of back and forth on this because both of them are going to have good defenses. And, I've always sort of gone on the precept that in an international game, they kind of play low. I mean, it didn't happen last year in Brazil, even though it was wet conditions. The Packers and the Eagles put up a pretty big score. I don't see it with this defense, though. I see a low-scoring game. The Chargers do have a lot of pressure up front. They were very good at stopping the run last year, which I think is going to give Pacheco a bit of a headache. But they can be beaten deep. And we know how Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey like to find that slant route where Kelsey busts across the middle, gets an extra 12 yards, and I can see a few of those. But I just think the defense is going to be a play here. I do like Kansas City to cover the 3.5. I do have it a low scoring game, though. I've got it 23 to 18. I think it'll be part of the under. I just can't see a lot of points being scored. Nobody wants to get hurt in an international game. The stadium itself, with the weather, who knows if it's going to be wet, if it's going to be a problem again, having a soccer pitch. But I've got Kansas City to cover, but I don't have it going over in this one. Let's head to the Sunday slate, the 1 o'clock games, or 6 o'clock if you're living in the UK. We start with the AFC South, a big divisional rivalry here, as Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 2.5-point favorites against Atlanta. Atlanta is at home. 46.5 is the over-under. We have some injuries across. We've got Wirfs missing. Tampa Bay has been known to score a lot of points, but also have a lot of points scored up on them. And this is the first time that Penix is going to have his team. Tampa Bay is pretty stout against the run, so Bijan might struggle against this one. And, Bucky's not the biggest of guys, so how do you like this team with Atlanta at home against this Baker Mayfield machine?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because there's so many things. There's not so many things. There's two things we don't know. We don't know how Baker's going to do without his coach, who now went on to Jacksonville, so his OC OC, who's gone to Jacksonville. So what's that going to be like? Because he had 41 touchdowns, almost 5,000 yards last year. It's like, when you looked at it, I was like, really? I was like, I know he had a good year, but I couldn't imagine. Everyone in Cleveland's like, yeah, we got Flacco. Don't worry, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. And we got 2 draft first rounders. So you don't know what that, and then you still have the Michael Penix question. As good as he looked last year, what's this going to look like? Everyone who is Kyle Pitts going to be Kyle Pitts. I think Drake London and Bijan will be fine, but to me, again, you got Ibuka coming in on Tampa. You got Bucky Irving, who still knows how to play. I just think, to me, Tampa with the offense and the better defense. I think, even though it's in Atlanta, but I think the dome just doesn't give you that advantage. It just makes things easier for Baker and makes it easier thing for the both offenses to work. I'm going to bet on the quarterback. I've seen do it more times than not. I haven't seen Penix really that much. I'm excited to watch this game. I think it's going to actually be one of the better games of the week. I think it's going to be a really good game, but I'm going to go 28-24 for the Bucs.
Wow, I've got it 28-26, but I've got it for Atlanta. And of course, you can watch this on Red Zone with commercials. It's a little disrespectful.
Commercials in it. We should talk about commercials in Red Zone.
I can. We will talk about that right after this commercial break. I just find Atlanta at home, it just seems like this is a bit of a disrespect for them. And they do have so much talent there, and there is a bit of injuries, and Tampa Bay can be beaten deep. They've got some gaps, I think, in the secondary. So I could see Drake London having a very good game. I could see Pitts maybe opening it up. Bijan maybe struggling a bit, but we'll see what happens with the option. I think it's going to be a back-and-forth game. I could see the over being hit. That's why I've got it 28-26 for Atlanta. I think it's going to be down. Could be field goal at the last minute, but I think this will be a Donnybrook, as they say.
Fun opener. Fun
one to get going. Well, we head into the Meadowlands or FedEx Field or whatever the hell they're calling it. The one where you break your ankles. It's the New York Jets are hosting Pittsburgh in a game that Aaron Rodgers knows too well.
Should call it ACL Field.
It should be called ACL Field, exactly. Field. Pittsburgh are 2.5-point favorites in this one. New York Jets bringing in Justin Fields. They've quarterback swapped without actually trading. It just happened that they swapped like a car key party. Jets 38.5 points is the over-under. Jets have a bit of a defense, but Pittsburgh has a very good defense. This is Aaron Rodgers' FU game for flying me all the way out there just to tell me I'm fired. But again, stout defenses in this game. 2.5-point favorites, 38.5 is the over-under. How do you like Pittsburgh's chances or the Jets?
I think you're also going to be able to tell how much the Jets hated Rodgers by how much they blitz him. Where it's just going to be like, we got a chance to kill this guy who went to Egypt during our training camp but didn't show up. So It's like, I think there's going to be hatred. So I think Rodgers is going to want to beat his old team like he always says. Rodgers is a man, if not a petty man, but I think a spite store type of guy. But I think the Jets are even more angry. I think the Jets are going to come at him with everything they can. I think that you want to make Aaron Rodgers beat you. They've seen him in practice. They know what he can and cannot do. I'm going to go with the Jets, a little bit of a sneaky
Ooh.
upset in this one. I think Fields, this is just revenge game. Fields who gets dumped, for Russell Wilson, so to me, this is a big game for Brees Hall to show he is. But to me, it's just going to be like you got one quarterback who is slow but accurate and one who's fast and inaccurate. So it's like, to me, neither team has a great running game going, really. Brees Hall's been okay, and, we got Jalen Warren on there, and then a rookie coming in. So to me, I think this game is going to be ugly. It's going to be two defenses really coming at each other. I think Rodgers is going to really struggle to get the ball to DK Metcalf with Sauce Gardner covering him. And I think other than that, who does he have to throw it to? He has nobody, like Johnny Smith. So to me, I think the Jets can just really make this an ugly Jets game. So I'm going to go like something like 17-14 Jets win.
I agree with you, going to be low scoring. I don't agree that. I just don't think the Jets. I mean, you looked at how bad Fields was in practice, and as a Bears fan, I can attest that this guy is sort of on his last legs. And I think Aaron Rodgers, this is probably it. This is maybe the last season, so let's start it off. We know how he started his first game a couple of years ago. Hey, ooh!
Yeah.
So I can see him not doing that, even though, it is Jets field here. I think he's comfortable. He knows these guys. He's been around long enough to know all the little, information about these guys and where their weaknesses are. I think Pittsburgh's just a better team. You've got Tomlin coaching, and you got to look at coaching in this one. So I've got Pittsburgh to win this one 21-13.
That's
and I
not
can see some of that 13 being scored by the defense of the Jets. But no, I think Pittsburgh takes care of this one. We head into Indianapolis. It's Daniel Jonestown, which is not the same as Jonestown, but it could be sort of like it for Indianapolis this year. Miami, getting a slap in the face, not being favored here. Indianapolis, 1.5-point favorites and a 46.5-point over-under. The Colts certainly do not have the offensive line that they did from a few years ago. In fact, they don't have as many things, but they do have Jonathan Taylor. Miami, of course, Mike McDaniel did not look good in it. They look like they were all over the place. Tyreek Hill drama. Miami obviously has, in the past couple of years, has put up tons of points, but they've really just fallen apart. Is this a disrespectful game for Miami? Does Indianapolis have this home field advantage? How do you like this one?
No, first of all, no one is better in September than the Dolphins. Every year, the Dolphins get all excited. The nice weather's still around. Things are looking good. And to me, I can't bet on Daniel Jones until I see him play. As much as I don't believe in Mike McDaniel, I do think Tua, with that speed at receiver in a dome, I think they can do a lot of damage. I think Tyreek's looking to kind of shut everyone up, saying he's kind of washed and kind of done with the now age 31. So he's going to want to really not being named a captain anymore. So I think like there's kind of like he's going to want to maybe put some noise up. I think the Achane injury could be a problem, but Miami's always it comes from the Shanahan tree. So they always find a way to run. It's like whenever Shanahan give any running back, he can make it work. It kind of feels like that way with Miami. So I know they drafted a rookie who could come in and get Ollie something. I can't remember. My mind's all mixed from all these drafts doing. But to me, I get the question I have is can this Miami defense stop anybody? So that's, to me, Daniel Jones has a really good opportunity at home to be able to move the ball, because I don't think this Miami defense is good. I think this one could actually go into like full shootout mode, weirdly, with Daniel Jones, kind of, because again, I think Tyler Warren, who they drafted, is good. I think, you got Jonathan Taylor, who can still really take it to the house. So to me, I think there's a lot of great games this week. This is a great week one to me. So I'm going to go big shootout, 30-27 for the Dolphins to win. Kind of wanted to take Indy, but I'm not betting on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also feeling each other out and how, there's going to be a lot of misconnections because both these teams, I think, are a bit rusty. But I do think it's a bit of a disrespect against this Miami team for a team that can put up a lot of points and just on a talent basis seems to have more talent. There's a lot of questions, I think, about Indianapolis defense, particularly that secondary. And as you say, the separation that Tyreek Hill can get, he might still be a bit old, but he's still, 31. He could probably beat me in a race, just barely.
Yeah.
But I think it's we don't know what Daniel Jones is like. We don't know what this is going to
Well,
happen.
we
I mean,
do,
between him and Richardson,
we do know what
well, we
Daniel
do
Jones is
know.
like, but
We do know, but we just don't know how it's going to work with his team. And, as I say, I think it's going to be a good game for Jonathan Taylor because Miami's going to struggle against him. He's going to find the holes, and they're just going to have to rely on him until, as you say, it becomes a point where Miami's up by 10. It's like, well, we're not running it anymore. So what's Daniel Jones going to do? I'm looking at him. I'll be taking bets at him at least throwing an interception, maybe two. So I've got Miami to win this one 24-20. I think Jonathan Taylor will be doing part of the lion's share of those 20 points. Head to the south now, where Jacksonville has a new coach in Liam Cohn. They're 2.5-point favorites over a Carolina team that showed some signs of life at the end of the season with Bryce. But now it comes down to, the changes that Carolina has made, and who do they have? Who are the guys? They've got Tet, the new rookie guy that they have. But Jacksonville has got a healthy Trevor Lawrence, which we haven't seen in a while. And they still have a pretty stout defense. 2.5, 47.5-point favorites. The weather in Florida looks like it's going to be hot. I think Jacksonville will be wearing their white uniforms. Carolina, it seems like this could be a win for them, but how do you think Jacksonville's going to do at home?
I mean, this is a huge game for Trevor Lawrence. Like probably one of his biggest games of his careers, to be honest with you. I think like all the, he had that kind of comeback win a couple years ago and really kind of rode that. I heard a good theory. Someone say if he just cuts his hair, he might just play. Like, he might just be better with short hair.
But he's just, Samson, man. That's where his power lies.
His hair is So I think again, I think having Travis Hunter, I think Brian Thomas Jr. was a beast last year. To me, with Liam Cohen, who was able to do what he did with Baker, can he do this with Trevor Lawrence, who has all the skills, all the makeup to be able to do this, but has just not been able to do it. So to be able then to have your first game at home against Carolina, one of the worst defenses last year, it's got eaten alive by every quarterback. I've put Trevor Lawrence in my fantasy lineup this week just because he's playing Carolina. And I think with why else had Caleb Williams? It was that or Caleb Williams against Minnesota's defense. So I was like, I'll go against Carolina's defense and that kind of. I know how I'm excited to see Travis Hunter. He's going to play both ways. He's going to be a backup cornerback and a starting receiver. So Trevor Lawrence has all the way. Who's going to take the lead in the running back, type Bigsby or ATN? I want to see which ones of those are going to do it. And to me, it just with Carolina, it doesn't really matter as long as Bryce can be competent and consistent and have a good game and get Tet the ball. Chuba Hubbard looks okay. I think people are just willing to just unless he looks like as bad as he did before he got cut, which I just don't think is going to happen. So to me, the Carolina is just like a team about progress. Let's just be a bit better on defense. Let's show some consistency on offense. But we're still on the road in Jacksonville. September, it's hot. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville to win this 27-20.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got the funk of Doug Peterson out of the room, and I think they had to get a few fans to waft that smell out of there. I'm interested. I can't remember the Jacksonville's third running back. I can't remember that guy. Anyway, I was looking at him. I was looking at some fantasy stuff. But I just think there's too many tools here at their disposal. And having Lawrence healthy, the coach, the motivation, having that sucky last year that they had, this is a chance at home to stamp it down. Carolina, I think, is going to start slow. They've made some changes, but not good enough changes. They still are festering in the bottom half of the bottom half of the league, bottom parts of the league. So this is going to be a really tough one at home in Florida. It's just, to me, it's too much for Carolina. I've got Jacksonville to win 26-18. I think Bryce Young is going to have some ability. He'll be able to use his legs, but he's going to be chased quite a bit of the day. Josh Allen, part 2, was going to create a lot of pressure on him as well. So I agree with you on this one. Jacksonville takes the win. We head into Washington, where will there be a sophomore slump for Jaden Daniels? 6.5-point favorites over a New York Giants team. Russell Wilson, is he an upgrade? Who knows? And you've got Jackson Dart, who's named as number 2, which we all know who left at number 3. Washington is 6.5-point favorites at home in this one, in one of the worst stadiums in the NFL. 45.5 points is the over-under. Does New York have a chance in this one? Do you think that they're being disrespected at 6.5 against, or is Washington just going to come out firing and lay it all on them?
I really want to pick the Giants. I think the Giants can be sneaky good for a couple of reasons. I think their defensive line is probably the best in the NFL. You know, Brian
Hmm.
Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter coming at you. Like those three can cause havoc on a quarterback, you know. And a guy like Jaden Daniels, at least he's kind of elusive, but he you don't want to get hit by these guys. So he's going to want to
No,
get that ball out quickly. I think, man, I just can't bet on. I think again, Washington's one of the oldest teams. I think they're going to want to kind of again with their running. What kind of running game do they have? You know, they got rid of Robinson Jr. They're just kind of going with a complete committee. You know, with led by
Eckler.
Eckler, which again, Eckler's fine, but he's like a 32-year-old running back. He's not going to be the guy who's starting for you for the rest of the season. So to me, the Giants just kind of seem like the fun. Even it's weird to think that they're the up and coming young team when Washington came out of nowhere, and then suddenly in one
Yeah.
offseason became the oldest team in the NFL. So I think this kind of game could be an absolute fun shootout. I think Russell Wilson is able to hit Neighbors on a deep one. I think Neighbors has a big game. I like his over. I think they're going to feed it to him. I think he's that good. He's looked that good in practice from what they say. So I like all the Neighbors bets. So to me, I think a close game. I think it's going to be 26-23 for Washington. Sorry, I was just like, wait. I was like, I'm not going Giants. 26. I'm going to go Washington.
Yeah, no, I'm
Ease
with
up
you on this
here.
one.
Ease up here.
I think the Giants keep this one close. I think it's a lot of disrespect. And to your point, great front line. So, Eckler, is healthy. And we know how much damage he can do when he's healthy. I agree. He's a bit old. But this front line, and it's going to be interesting to see just what Abdul Carter does, adding to that triumvirate of really beasts and feeding off of Burns. Like, if one doesn't get you, the other does.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be interesting just to watch this defense in action. It could be one of those games where Washington's maybe looking ahead, saying, okay, well, this is a divisional one, but still it's the Giants. And I think the Giants, even if there's a bit of a lead, won't you be my neighbor is going to be working it up. I think that Russell Wilson is going to have some time to get some quick balls out. And I might even look at him sneaky, just grabbing I don't know what his rushing yards or rushing attempts is, but I could see him grabbing like 5-6 yards here and there. So I'm going to look at that as a cheeky little bet. But I've got the Giants to cover this one. I've got it 24-23. I think it's just pipping the over on this one at 47 points. Could be an exciting game, but I will be watching this on non-commercial free red zone most likely. This game will not be good as we head into New Orleans. And New Orleans, the Saints are feted as possibly the worst team in the league. Holes across everything. So many holes. There's groundhogs could be living in this team. Arizona, though, is coming into this game bit of steam on them. Kyler's healthy. The defense is there. You've got a Trey McBride. You've got James Conner. You've got a team that can sling the ball around. It's 42.5 is the over-under. Arizona favored by 6.5. New Orleans at home.
I feel like, you remember,
who day?
remember
Who's going to win? No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you remember a couple of years ago, I don't know if it was last year, or the year before, and when Carolina was so bad that they were just getting like walloped every single game by like 20. And if you just bet whoever they played to just cover the bet against Carolina and you just let it ride all season. That's what I think I might do with the Saints. I'm just willing to just bet against whoever's playing them to cover. I can't see any world where they can go in and beat anybody, the Saints. I think they've just got probably, like you said, they got problems all across the board. I don't even know where you start. I said, what, 30 points, 40 points they're going to give up? I think, they don't really. Who's their coach again?
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore, right? And I think like they were just basically like, anybody want the job? Bueller?
Yeah.
Anybody ready for this? So to me, you're going to have Kamara. This is just basically when are we going to trade Kamara, right? That's when are we going to trade Kamara game? So I don't know. What's your prediction? I'm going to go with a big score, but what's your prediction?
I've got it 30-16 for Arizona. To your point, I think Kellen Moore is going to show some signs of change in it, but he's still got Spencer Rattler, and this is an unproven entity. Some guy that, man, I don't know. He's going to get harried by this defense. I think once you start getting down, you're going to have to rely on Olave, Shaheed, like you're just going to, what are you going to do? And you're, Rattler is going to be running around trying to toss his ball because you can only rely on your running game for so long. The defense has a lot of problems too in that secondary. They've traded away. They've got a lot of old guys there. So I can just see Arizona going to town. I can see Marvin Harrison finally having his good
Yeah.
game in this one.
Well,
Kyler looks like he's happy, he's healthy, and a lot of people are really big on Arizona. And I think in this game, as to your point too, bet against New Orleans because this 6.5, I can easily see this being a touchdown. I could see Kyler having a very good fantasy game.
I think, yeah, to me, I'm betting this 6.5. I think, they're going to win. I'm going to say like 33-7. I think it's going to be an
Okay.
absolute crushing. I think, yeah, I think Kyler probably has a big game. I think Marvin Harrison needs a big game. I think
Mm-hmm.
from how generational he was, and then he didn't do any of the workouts and everything, and then just was kind of mediocre last year. He's
Yeah.
gotten bigger, but his problem wasn't size. His problem was separation. So I think they're going to really want to be on the same page. And again, you got Trey McBride, one of the best tight ends in the league. Caught like over 100 balls last year.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, with him, Connor somehow still eludes time and he's just consistent every week. So to me, I feel like, yeah, to me, Cardinals, I think, yeah, they're the little sexy underdog team that everyone kind of thinks. So I think beatdown.
I agree with you on this one. It'd be, again, interesting game to watch on Red Zone. Heading into Ohio, it's the Battle of Ohio, where Cincinnati has notoriously always had a bad start. I believe they're 1-9 in the past
Yeah,
few years in the early games
terrible.
of the season. But what does Cleveland have? Cincinnati's a 5.5-point favorite. The over/under in this one is 47.5. So Vegas is anticipating a lot of points scored. Who does Cleveland have, though? And what are they going to do? Old man Flacco, get off my lawn. Get off my lawn. I don't know what's going to happen here, but Joe Burrow has the offense. They just don't have the defense. And, you've had some problems with Cleveland and Quishon Judkins, but they've got Jerome Ford. They can maybe run the ball. Does Cleveland have a chance at home in this one, or do you think Cincinnati comes out firing?
I mean, listen, I feel, what's the line? What is it? The line?
It's 5.5 for Cincinnati.
See, the fact that 5.5, it's just like that enticing you to bet it because I feel like everyone just thinks that Cincinnati's just going to walk in and just light it up. And I think that's a smart decision. But I also think at the same time, I think the Browns kind of feel just massively disrespected across. I mean, they're the Browns. They should be. But I feel like, again, Flacco looked decent in preseason. I think they keep this close. I think Cincinnati's defense is a real problem. I think Trey Hendrickson has not practiced, again, as good as he was, he's not practiced much. I think Myles Garrett with that offensive line, like, I don't know what this Cincinnati defense is going to look like. I don't know what their offensive line is going to look like when you got Myles Garrett coming at them. And, I know all about Chase and Higgins, and I think they're going to be getting up. But I think this game's closer than you think. I think Flacco is able to kind of keep this game weirdly close, and I think they cover. I go with Cleveland to cover this, and I go 27-23 for the Browns. For Bengals to win.
I've got Cleveland to win this one.
What?
I think they surprise them at home. This notorious slow start is going to continue, and not having the defense. And this is a battle that Joe Burrow does not do well in this stadium. He does not do well starting the season. They're always trying to find their way. And I think Cleveland is tired of being dog shit, in the league. This is a rivalry game as far as I'm concerned. And they're coming out healthy. They've had enough of these problems, and maybe we see Sanders come in, depending on how the game goes, switch it up a bit. But I think Flacco's got the poise. He's got some of the guys there, Jerry Jeudy, so I like Cleveland to win this one. I've got a little upset, cheeky upset, in 23-20.
It feels like one of those pros versus Joes games where all the Joes and all the regular people bet Cincinnati. They're going to be, and then all the pros are like, yeah, we'll take the Browns.
I go with the history on this one, and obviously the team, and just the fierce rivalry these two have against each other in Ohio. We head to our final of the 1 o'clock games as New England has got a new coach, but so does Las Vegas and Old Man Carroll. New England, 2.5-point favorites and a 42.5-point over/under. Drake May had showed some great signs last year, but then you got Max Crosby. You have a Vegas team with Ashton Genty, and you've got a lot of talent on this. I think in Vegas, we'll see what happens, how Gino's going to do. And a defensively minded Mike Vrabel, who is going to try to limit those options and try to shut down a lot of things. New England, 2.5-point favorites at home and a 42.5-point over/under. Does Vegas have a good chance in this one, or is this going to be something where the defense clamps down in New England and we just see this sort of chess match?
think the Raiders win this. I think the fact that Christian Gonzalez has a bit of an injury, that's going to be a huge loss. I just worry about who are the Patriots throwing it to. Like, yeah, they got Trevion Henderson, but who are your receivers? You got Stephon Diggs coming off an ACL. How effective is he going to be? Other than that, you've cut pretty much all your other receivers. You're going in with just scrubs. You did nothing to really help Drake May. So I feel like a Drake May rushing prop, whatever it is probably about 25. I would bet him to be running kind of for a lot of first downs. I think Gino is just more kind of Gino's just the veteran. He's kind of been in this situation before. He's got Brock Bowers. They got Genty. I think Pete Carroll gives him that kind of sage, wise man living in the forest vibes. Who's going to be able to just keep this team cool. And Vrabel's just more of like the orc ready to just smash people. And so I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think both teams are going to find it hard to score. I just don't see the Patriots being this offense that can move it. As much as I like Drake May, I think he's really good. But I just don't see it. So I'm going to go Raiders 23-20.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be defensive game, low scoring. I've got it 20-18 for New England. I've got Vegas to cover it. It's just going to be this one where it's a lot of punting. I think the first half. I could see it being like a 3-3 kind of game in this point. You just don't see with these two defensive kind of teams that this is going to happen. I I think it's just I'm going to give props to Vrabel at home and his defense. I think he's really going to be focused on them. They were very quite shut down, and there'll be a lot of pressure on him. I think they'll be able to shut down Genty a bit. I don't know about Bowers, but it's going to be a tight end. You're going to see May relied on Hunter Henry a lot last year, and I could see him doing that again. You guaranteed he's got safe hands there, so it's going to be a battle of the tight ends as far as I'm concerned. 20-18, New England wins, but Las Vegas covers it. Heading into our 4 o'clock slate or 9 o'clock games in the UK, we start off in the West, where Seattle is hosting a San Francisco team that is finally healthy. Brock Purdy is paid. Warner is healthy. They did lose quite a few key pieces, and they had a very disappointing season last year. Seattle, on the other hand, has got Sam Darnold. They've got Cooper Kupp, and they've got quite a bit of a running game to them. San Francisco, though, is favored 2.5 points and an over-under of 44.5. How does Seattle going to fare at home? Is San Fran, are they going to avenge the horrible season and bad trades that they had? Or does Seattle have a chance to notch their belt with a West victory here?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle for the win. I think at home, I think that defense is really, if they can kind of just keep Christian McCaffrey, who, again, we don't know what he's going to be like. He's been out injured. Is he back to his old self? So if they can contain him, just make Purdy beat you with Ricky Pearsall and Jennings and, Kittle. If they can just, again, the Seahawks defense really good. Mike McDonald's really good defensive coach. They're just going to shut down Kittle. Make Brock Purdy beat you. Do not let McCaffrey. And I think, I don't think it's going to be a very high scoring game. And I think Darnold's got a lot to prove after Minnesota and everyone laughed him out of there and having such a good year. I think Jackson Smith and Jig was really good. I think Cooper Kupp, I don't really think Cooper Kupp brings you a lot to the table, but they've improved their offensive line. They've got good running backs with Charbonnet and Walker. So to me, I think the Seahawks are just a little bit sneakier, like that sneaky little team that's just going to be able to kind of shut down the Niners. Because again, I don't know what the Niners are going to look like. They didn't look good last year, and everyone thinks they're just going to make this like flip the switch and just become the Niners of old again. And I just need to see what Purdy's going to do after the big money contract and everything, and how he can carry a team. So I think I'm going to go 24-23 for Seattle. Very close game though.
Yeah, I'm a close game too, and I've gone back and forth in this because we've talked in the podcast before that you've got a team that basically won like 4 games last year, and everyone's like, oh, they're going to win the division again, and it's very difficult with the Rams. Depending, we'll get into that game with Stafford, but Seattle, it just seems like they're going to be a bit creaky. They're going to be a bit rusty in this one, and I'm trusting the coaching on the other side. So I think you've got Shanahan, who's been there, done that, knows what he has made the few tweaks. Brock Purdy plays, he plays safe ball. He doesn't really get rid of that ball too much. And I think Seattle is going to get worn down by them. I can see Kittle having a good game, but I've got San Fran just basically covering it 24-21. It could be something last-minute heroics that, San Fran finds themselves down at halftime but comes back and rallies. But I think San Fran can do it. I'm just not sold on Seattle. I just haven't seen them yet. And Sam Darnold, he's been around. He had a great year last year with the coaching, but I don't know about this year, so I'm going to go with San Fran. Let's hit into Denver, where Bo Nix and company, with their great defense, is facing number one draft pick in Cam Ward. They've had some good running. Tennessee has, they've gotten rid of Billy Jeans, but Denver is 8.5-point favorites in this one, 42.5-point over under. We're going to see Cam Ward in his first official game, but we've seen Bo Nix and we've seen his ball control. Sean Payton, obviously, sent a notice to everyone in the league last year. What do you think about Denver at home at 8.5 points with a 42.5-point over under?
I think it's a really hard spot to put Cam Ward in, to have to go to Denver. The air, the thin air, the tough atmosphere to play into, going against one of the best defenses in the league as a rookie quarterback. It's like an impossible job he's been given. So I think it's going to be it could be a rough outing for him. Or he could just be amazing and just kind of take off and be this incredible player that we've never seen. But to me, I think it's more obvious that he's probably going to struggle. I think, again, if I think Surtain's going to be able to take out Ridley, and who they really have, they don't have a lot of weapons. So to me, the defense is going to smother him. I think the Broncos are going to be they're just a better team, and I think Peyton at home wants to kind of get this offense rooted. I'm excited to see RJ Harvey, their running back, see how good he is coming out of the backfield. If he's like the new Kamara for them. But to me, I think the Broncos just take care of business. This is just too much. I'm gonna go 27-14.
For me, spotting someone 8.5 points in first game of the season it's too far. I get it. I get that they sucked and they were a bad team last year, but 8.5, almost 9 points. Some people are going as hard as 9.5. Yeah, mile high, and people will be high in that stadium, legalized. It's just too much for me in week one. And who knows with Cam Ward? The defense, I think, is going to be able to put some pressure. They do have some wide receivers that I think that they can find some holes on this team. I've got Denver to win. I just don't have them winning 8.5. I've got the score 24-17. I think it's going to be an under as well. I don't know about the 42.5 points. There's going to be a bit of rust going on this one. I don't know if Bo Nix is going to have as much ease getting the ball around. Tennessee playing for their lives in this one. So I've got Denver to win, just not to cover. We head in this big one. I think Sky might be playing this one. Of course, we've got Channel 5 and Sky playing it in the UK. A different game, so make sure you check with your provider, or Red Zone, not with any free commercials. Heading into Green Bay, they're 2.5-point favorites against the Detroit Lions. Micah Parsons, they're saying, is injured. A lot of people are saying maybe Green Bay got a bum deal. As a Bears fan, I'm saying they got a bum deal. But is he going to be playing? They're not fully sure if he's playing yet. It's going to be a game-time decision, in which case the line will drop. And even if he does play, he's a bit injured. He's probably going to have a few injections to make him work. Go gadget knee. Detroit, Green Bay, 2.5-point favorites, 46 points and a half over under. Does Detroit have a chance? They're being slighted. These are the big guys in the NFC.
Well, it's a big Dan Campbell game, right? So I actually like the Lions in this game. I think they're going to win. I think Sewell, but the fact that they got Sewell can kind of shut down Micah Parsons. I think that they're going to be so amped and hyped up for him to go. And I think if the Lions can I think the Lions have a lot to prove. I think they're sick of the Ben Johnson genius rap. I think they're annoyed that he's like, everyone's giving them no chance when they still have absolutely, Jahmyr Gibbs, they got Jameson Williams, they got speed, Amon St. Brown, they got weapons all over the field, and they can beat you. And I think they're just as good as they were last year. And I think Hutchinson coming back can make it really hard. It's a big game for Love. And I think that the Packers hype has just gotten so out of control with the Parsons thing. I think it just feels like if this was maybe like 3 weeks in the season, I might pick Green Bay. But I think the fact, the hype and everything, it just has that letdown game when if you're a Packers fan, you're just so excited for this game. You want to see Micah probably get a sack on the first drive and the place will go insane. But then the game will start. And I think it's going to be close. I'm going 30-27 for the Lions. I think it's going to be a fun game. Absolute shootout.
I'm with you as well. I've got Detroit winning this by 5. It's a lot of disrespect for a team that has still a lot of talent, and Green Bay, we're talking about a Jordan Love that gets flustered. He makes some bad decisions. He makes some bad passes. Matthew Golden, the golden child, you don't even know. We haven't even seen him, but we know that Detroit can shut you down. We know that they have the running game, and they also have the passing game. Jared Goff has been around the league a long time. And I think he's got that poise. I just think Green Bay at home is going to be flustered by this, and I can see them hurting themselves more than anything. So I've got Detroit to win this 200 to Green Bay minus 10. No, I've got it 28-25 for Detroit to win this one. Heading into SoFi Stadium, the Rams are 2.5-point favorites over a disrespected Houston Texans team. Houston does have a lot of issues. Their running game, you got Joe Mixon missing out some time. They have messed around, but they still got a bit of a defense here. The Rams, however, have an injured Matthew Stafford who always seems to, oh, my back, old man syndrome. 43.5 points over under 2.5-point favorites for the Rams. Is this a bit of disrespect for Houston, the AFC, versus
No,
this Rams team?
I wouldn't say disrespect. I mean, Houston kind of did themselves no favors by playing poorly last year, especially the offense. The defense will be great, but they're going up against Sean McVay. So I think Sean McVay can kind of is like the equalizer when you have a great defense and going up against a great offense, but then you have Sean McVay, this incredible play caller on one side that's just able to going to be able to, and forgetting it's Devontae Adams. We don't talk about that enough. They got Puka. Kyron Williams is really good, but I think Devontae Adams brings that reliable veteran where, especially Stafford, knowing that he's got this guy he can trust to just get the ball out and play it safe. And so I'm going to go with the Rams to win. I just don't know what the Texans offense is going to be like, especially if you're throwing out Chubb and Damian Pierce as your running backs. And, you got Christian Kirk across from, Nico Collins. It just doesn't feel like, again, their defense is great. It's going to be tough. I think this game's not going to be as high scoring as you think. I'm going to go with the Rams to win it, like 25-22.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of disrespect for Houston. I feel that the Rams are going to start slow with Stafford. It's going to be they're going to try to the defense is going to put a lot of pressure on him when you've got a bit of a health issue. I can really see that this will be a problem, and I can see them even Stafford being benched, and I don't even know who their backup is. But I can see the Rams struggling. A bit of disrespect for Houston. Houston seems to start strong their season, so I've got Houston with the upset in this one, 26-24. I can see Stroud using his legs a lot, moving the ball around. The Rams obviously have shown a great D, but the improvisation of CJ Stroud, I think that they're going to have a good game. A bit of an upset, and I've got Houston to win this one. Heading to our last two games, we head off to Buffalo for a Sunday night game, which could be an AFC final in many cases. Baltimore coming into Buffalo. Buffalo 1.5 points. Favorites 51.5 points. Over under Lamar versus Allen. How do you see this one at home? Buffalo hosting, a very dangerous team in
Yeah,
this one.
it's
How do
not
you
a.
feel about Buffalo?
I don't feel very positive. I feel positive because I have Josh Allen. The thing I'm worried the most about is just that secondary, the Bills. Tre'Davious White still not practicing this week, so we're going to be going down to our third, fourth corner against Lamar, which is just know that this is going to be. That's kind of what killed the Bills and the Chiefs. When the Benford went out and they just got eaten alive when Elam came in. So to me, I think the fact that Isaiah Likely's out for Baltimore and Picard might be out as well. So I just think of the revenge factor. I think the Ravens and Mark Andrews dropping that ball. I think they're just going to be a bit more kind of playing angry and playing amped. And I think Buffalo probably, if this is going to be the hardest game on their schedule, probably the whole season. So I think if Buffalo loses this, I'm not worried. I think they'll be fine. So I just think when you play a team twice in two teams as evenly as this in 7 months apart, I think whoever lost the first one's going to lose the next one. So if Buffalo would have lost that one, I'd pick them to win this one. But I think Lamar wants to kind of go back in and take care of business. I will, but I think it's going to be a close game. But I don't think it's going to be the shootout that people think because I think the Ravens D can really kind of mitigate some of the things you can do. So I'm going to say 26-23 for Baltimore.
Goes against them.
I
I'm
do.
also taking Baltimore in this one for the same reasons. And Buffalo, there's that, sometimes that weird, strange start where they're like,
Yeah,
you know,
they've been
you're
had
just
some bad
wondering what
week
the hell's
ones.
happening. What takes a while to get it going. Um, there's that hard knocks factor as well that people have. So I've got Baltimore to win this one 28 to
Hold
27,
on,
a close game.
one more.
But in a close game, Baltimore wins. We head to our final game. and Ryan has got some children
Yeah,
issues,
my
so it's
children
okay
came
running
home.
away.
But they came home early, so yeah. Anyway,
Okay,
we got one more game left. One more
we
game.
got one more game. We're heading into Chicago, where Minnesota's favored by 1.5. Bears 43.5 points is the over under in this one. Caleb and company disrespected against JJ McCarthy, who's never really played. How do you feel about Chicago at home with Minnesota coming in? I'm going to start with it. I've got Chicago to win, of course. I think we've got it. We got the Ben Johnson factor. I think JJ is going to struggle in this one. They've got a lot of talent across the board, but I've got Chicago to win this one 23-21.
Yeah, I like the Bears too. I think just I'm only picking it because I mean, if it was Darnold, I'd probably pick Minnesota because I think they're gonna. I think Flores is just gonna try and murder Caleb Williams before the end of the game. He's just blitz and blitz and blitz because the thing is, he wants Caleb to hold on to that ball because that's when he makes the most mistakes, and I think that's what.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a real test for this new kind of Bears offensive line. I worry about the Bears running game that they're not going to be able to help and Caleb's going to have to just throw it, throw it, and throw it. But I think Ben Johnson, that's what he kind of wants to do in a way. I think he knows he doesn't have a running back, so I think this could be big throwing game. But I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a tough fought, low, kind of not low scoring game. So I'm going to go 2017 for the Bears, and a little bit of a just a punch him up in the back.
Well, that's it. Yeah, we both have the Bears to win that one. Thanks a lot for listening, folks. Watch our website and our socials. We got a new website coming down the pipeline, and we'll be back next week when Ryan and I go through all of our picks to see how we did, and we'll be putting our picks online. Good luck in week one, everyone.